Here goes a video of what I like to call Kalel, right? I call these the Superman UFOs. I coined the phrase. Anybody else saying that should know they got it from me. Right? This is what I call these Superman UFOs. And here goes an interview. The interviews pretty much speak for themselves. But this is the U.S. military basically confirming what I've been trying to tell people the whole damn time. This is a CNN interview that came out just a day ago. And let's listen, because this shit is pretty amazing, man. Yeah, okay. Everybody pretty much know who this guy is. This is Chris Cuomo, and this is an interview that he had with a retired U.S. Navy chief who is going to explain what the hell they've been seeing every day for years. Every day they've been seeing. Why they've been making people acting like people are crazy, why they've been lying. This is why nobody trusts the government. And if you do, you're an imbecile. You're an idiot. Right? After they've been ostracizing, making us shun people, making people think they're crazy. Many people that just got their lives ruined because they think have them looking outrageous in society, like they're conspiracy theorists or they're weird or they're strange. Now, years later, after all those people who suffered from their fucking lies and cover-ups, now they want to come out and tell the truth, and then wonder why people don't believe shit that the government say. I am 100%. I understand totally, and I think you're a goddamn moron and a buffoon if you do believe. You got some people who believe everything the government say. Government big. We need more government. If you need more government, that's where I stand with Republicans at. If you need more government, that means you're literally by default asking for more lies, which would make you a fucking idiot. We need bigger government. And bigger government just means bigger fucking lies. Here we go years later again. This is a retired U.S. Navy chief.
Next month, Congress is expecting a report from the Director of National Intelligence and other agencies on UFOs, or UAPs, and that's the government term for them. It stands for Unidentified Aerial Phenomena. Why? Well, a retired U.S. Navy pilot came forward to say he and his crew witnessed an unidentified flying object on the coast of the Atlantic several times. And he's not the only one. Joining us now, someone who has personally witnessed sightings, retired Navy Chief Master at Arms Sean Cahill, joined by Christopher Mellon, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence. Thank you both. Appreciate you for joining me.
Good evening, Chris.
Pleasure. Thank you. All right, so let's dispense with the obvious here. Chris, people are going to eye roll and say, boy, it was Cuomo light on what to talk about tonight. Why is this worth discussion?
Because we have recurring violations of U.S. airspace by unidentified vehicles. They're very capable, in some cases more capable than anything in our own inventory. This has been going on for years. The truth is just emerging. We've had a massive intelligence failure, and we now have a threat, an unknown threat that we need to figure out.
So, Sean, it's not that you're worried about something out of a movie coming to get you. It's about the threat right here on Earth and how it's being motivated without our knowledge and ability to counter.
That's correct, Chris. In 2004, I was the Chief Master at Arms on board the USS Princeton, and the technology that we witnessed with the Tic Tac was something that we would not have been able to defend our forces against at the time.
Help me understand that. As the uninitiated, what does that mean to us?
Well, sir, that means that what we saw in the Tic Tac and what Mr. Luis Elizondo describes as the 5 observables indicate a technology that outstrips our arsenal by at least 100 to 1,000 years at the moment.
100 to 1,000. So, meaning, like, what kind of technology was at play that you were able to identify it but know that you can't match it?
Well, first of all, the aircraft had 0 control surfaces. It had no means of propulsion that we could detect. It moved at hypersonic velocities, and it preceded the pilots to their cap point. So it seemed to have some knowledge of where the pilots were headed ahead of time, and we don't possess those abilities to do that in our arsenal at the moment.
What does it sound like to you, Chris Mellon?
Well, we clearly are vulnerable, and this has been going on for too long. Finally, our Congress is learning of this situation. They're beginning to react. So we've got a lot of catch up here, but it is very concerning. It's not an imminent crisis or imminent threat. There's been no hostility, but there's a lot of activity that's increasingly bold. In some instances, recently we've had these things swarming around warships off the coast of California, swarming around strategic missile defense bases in Guam, and other things. So with all the tensions in the world and China and the rest, with the attack on the Saudi oil facilities by drones and so forth, it's something we need to take seriously.
You answered the question partly there, but let's fill it out a little bit. This is not new. People play with this, and they played all kinds of conspiratorial thinking, but a lot of real military and policy people say, look, there are things out there that we got to keep track of that we can't. But why now? What's new in terms of the urgency, Chris? And I'll ask you both about this.
Sure, happy to address that. So what happened was a couple of years ago, Lou Elizondo in the Pentagon, who was managing this activity with almost no resources, he and I and a few others became aware that this was going on a very significant scale on the East Coast at the time, and our pilots were not getting any support. The intel community was not responding. Nobody was helping these guys out, and it wasn't being reported up the chain. It wasn't until that got into the New York Times and got to the attention of Congress that finally our leadership in both branches of government became aware that this was going on. So this has only just come to light.
Sean, what do you think is the likely universe of explanation that will come up at the end of these reports and addressing of this?
Chris, I think that we're going to find that this phenomenon represents a very large spectrum of different things. At edges of that spectrum are going to be near-peer technology of our adversaries here on Earth. At the other end of that spectrum is going to be something that we don't yet understand and haven't identified yet. So I hesitate to speculate on the source, but I can tell you that I don't believe that this is within our arsenal of any human technology at the moment.
So when you say that, it almost guarantees that not just your good looks, but that statement will get this picked up and sent all over the internet, because there'll be a legit military person saying that maybe this is from outer space. Do you want that to be taken from people?
Well, that would be taking my words out of context. What we can say is that we don't know what this is, and it's here. It's going to take all of us to figure this out together.
And Chris, what's your comment on that? They'll say, look at the resumes of these two guys. They're both saying that it might be from another world.
There's no scientific reason or basis to doubt that possibility. That's a hypothesis that could explain the facts. People need to be open to that. We're spending billions looking for extraterrestrial civilizations. We've got spacecraft that have already left the solar system. It's possible somebody found us before we found them.
Yeah, so that happened. What more needs to be said, man? Now you have the U.S. military basically coming out and confirming again and again and again. There's also another video that if you look at the other UFO videos that I put out and that I'm going to do, there's a 60 Minutes interview with even more chiefs and lieutenants and captains coming out and saying, yeah, these shits exist and we see them on a daily basis, and we have for several years, right? So I'm telling you, buckle up. There's supposed to be a report being dropped on this shit as soon as next month, where they supposed to be, and you know they're only going to trickle out a little bit of information. They act like we're fucking baby. That's why there's going to be a big-ass disaster, and they're going to need people like us, people like me, people like you, to get on board to actually be able to come together, and we're not going to be able to do it because nobody's going to take the government fucking serious, because they treat everyone like they're fucking kindergarteners, and they trickle out this information like we're first graders instead of just being blunt or honest with the truth, especially if it's something that like fucking some type of alien technology or somebody visiting from another world. Right? That's something you might want to put everybody on game so we all can be on the same page, because when you lie to people and you separate people, you see what happens. Look what happened with the coronavirus. Now you got half of the goddamn country who's doing one thing and the other half who believes and does another, and nobody really knows what the fuck to believe, because all the government does is perpetually lie, continuously and perpetually push lies. So nobody, if everybody needs to wind up coming together so we can fight back on an alien attack, good fucking luck with that, dumbass government. Right? We can't even fight back on a goddamn domestic attack, which is the virus that came from this earth, right? Nobody wants to goddamn do anything that these politicians or the governments are telling them, and it's got to so much distrust. The distrust has got to such a point where people don't even want to believe the scientists, because people believe that the scientists are controlled by the government, or the scientists are being run, or somehow the government's co-opted the scientists. So it ain't that people don't trust science. It ain't that people don't trust the scientists. It's actually that people don't fucking trust the government, which in turn makes people deny the science. It's not that people are denying the science. It's that when it comes out of the government's mouth, nobody fucking believes it. Blessing, peace, and love to you and all that you cherish. We out. Peace.